Look at that.
Oh, okay. I don't, know much about anything, but
You told me to do this.
no, yeah, but yeah, that's a little bit better, I think. No, I just, I don't know much about like production and camera angles and all of that stuff. I did take a film class and just all of that jargon goes way over my head. That's why I was an
You
English
know
major.
what's weird? I have a friend who's teaching classes right now, a dad, who actually, you know what? You might. God, hold on. This is not.
You forgot his name, I bet.
No, Logan. You know what's weird? You know how, like, there's certain phone numbers you still remember, but I don't know Heath's phone number because his phone number's in the era of, I don't know, you just, Logan's just one of those people where it's like, I know his phone number and I know his name. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know his email. But this guy's pretty interesting. He's a dad. His kid's named Harry Dean. Why, do you ask? Named after Harry Dean Stanton because Logan was his assistant for like 15 years and actually co-wrote and produced a movie that was supposed to be Harry Dean's like, oh my God, he's finally going to get an Oscar after decades of being this celebrated character actor. It just it did well. It was well received. He had all his connections to make this small little indie movie back in 2015, 16 when movies were a bigger deal, to be honest.
You gonna tell us the name of this film or just kind of leave us in the dark?
Lucky. It's called Lucky. It looked really good. I saw the trailer, never watched it. Oops.
You
And
know
I
what?
brought,
Does
yeah.
Logan listen to our podcast?
You know what? I'm going to get him to A. And B, he actually, I
Not
brought
this
this,
episode. Don't,
with,
don't, because then he'll know you never watched the movie.
trust me, he knows me. He knows me well. He knows. We go way back. He's got an incriminating film of me, like pictures, of like me hanging out. But just to be clear, but I bring all this up to say this guy like made a movie, worked in the quote Hollywood system, and frankly, like real Hollywood people has seen his better days, and he literally will teach a class like to like University of Phoenix or something like that. Just to be real here, it's not like NYU, but doesn't matter because he'll literally be like, whatever I'm teaching you won't matter in a couple years. So to your point, like, dude, we're all learning this stuff now. Like you just figure it out. Film doesn't cost money. Film used to cost money, and it was a really big deal. A film loader was a big job, but now it's all zeros and ones, my friend. So
And
you're
I've
an.
never even heard of a film loader. I've heard of Kurt Loader, but that's it.
He also comes from the era of film loading. Oh, it's all physical
R.I.P.
media.
Kurt
You had a
Loader.
VHS player. Use your imagination,
Yeah,
which
I
you
did.
have one.
Oh, do you know what I saw actually on the old Today Show is that VHS and DVDs and CDs are coming back. And by that I mean this new generation of kids, teens and tweens and maybe young 20 somethings and late teens, they're really into the physical media. And my thing is, I don't have any DVDs left or CDs because I stopped having devices that could play them. And so, you know, I guess maybe I should have held on to them, but like it's just too much stuff. It's too
Yes.
much stuff. It's all up here. I remember the discography of Boys to Men and, Lit and No Doubt, and now I'm just going to go on my 90s roll again.
This is actually something I will tell Heath, like, and it was progressively getting worse. Obviously, it was great with records, but the artwork that went into having a big, huge album you looked at. And, Heath is into rap music, and he's even listened to, some of the older stuff. And I tell him that the 90s were an amazing era for hip hop and R&B. We even called rap its own thing, hip hop. Now it's just called rap now. But I told him how critical it was to like listen to an entire Tribe Called Quest album from first track till the end. I was like, can you imagine the White Album? No one would buy the second disc of the White Album. It would be awful.
I see. Yeah, with my experience with CDs was that you liked one song and you got the whole thing because it was a better deal. Because I'm not going to go spend $8 or $9 on a single, which is like
Yeah.
three versions of the same song, one without the background. No, I'll just get the whole album for $18. and then you learn about some new songs. And for the most part, you don't like them, but then you learn about that artist. And so that was my experience with CDs. But we're here to talk about cutting through the bullshit today, cutting through having to listen to an entire album. So actually, you bring up a good point about not watching your friend's film because, sometimes I think we are looking for a cheat code in life. Some people say there are no cheat codes in life. Ha ha! I disagree. There are hacks.
Contra.
There
That's
are
BS. Whoever says that
total.
is an idiot.
Yeah. What's the cheat code? Did you ever watch Click, by the way? The Adam Sandler film? Or at least
You
pretend?
know what's funny? I can picture the thumbnail so well as something where it's like, yeah, and no, no, no.
Closer?
I like the older Sandler
The whole idea of
versus
Click,
the
and
older Sandler.
actually, I'm gonna go on a tangent, but I'll steer it back. The whole idea of Click is he's just kind of bored with all these inane parts of his life, and he finds this back room of a Bed Bath and Beyond, I believe, R.I.P. Bed Bath and Beyond,
It's gone?
and
Wait, it's gone?
pretty sure. So all
Okay.
those coupons you've been hoarding, what's the use? You should have used them when you had them.
Dude, don't even start with that. Every time I was like, oh, I'm going to get the Vitamix for cheaper. And then it would say in the fine print, you can't get anything good with this.
Well, the thing about the Bed Bath and Beyond coupons was they all had expiration dates, but everyone knew that they didn't matter. They would honor them, and that was like, oh, that's so cool about Bed Bath and Beyond. And maybe they should have kept to those expiration dates. They'd still be in business, Who knows? So in the film Click, Ollie, the whole idea is he's over just the like inane, boring parts of his life, and he wishes he could just fast forward through them, right? Like kind of like in the way that like you fast forward through the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
TiVo. It was like TiVo was really big when this came out, and before they called it DVR, which I guess is the like tissue to the Kleenex. Like
Mm-hmm.
TiVo used to say, "Oh, TiVo it."
TiVo.
That kind of
Yeah.
went away. I don't even know if TiVo's still a thing. So Adam Sandler's character, and I don't know his name. It wasn't that iconic of a movie. I just call him Adam Sandler. The character played by Adam Sandler is this guy who's just wants to fast forward through life. And it's working really well. And he gets to just go to the good parts. He doesn't have to go through the struggle. But what happens, of course, the remote takes on a life of its own. And now he's fast forwarding through parts that he doesn't want to be fast forwarding through. And then he shows up at his daughter's wedding and he's like, how did we get here? I missed all the good parts. And, the point is, there are no cheat codes in life, but we're gonna put that myth to bed. There are cheat codes. There's
Yeah.
hacks. It's like work smarter, not harder. You ever hear that?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think that's very true. I believe in cheat codes. Maybe I'll end up watching Click to like. Should I watch Click?
It's good. What's another good one? A similar theme, Multiplicity. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, maybe like on the plane.
On a
Felt like
plane.
one
What,
of
a
the
plane in 1997?
yeah. I mean, that's when you were like you were stoked. You remember when you'd be like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, there's a
Yeah.
movie on this thing."
Well, I'll tell you, I'm still excited to watch movies on planes. We took
I
a
end
flight.
up doing so. It's like
Yeah.
ridiculous. You spend this time like and I'll be like I feel like how our dads would have been like, make sure you pack a toothbrush or whatever like a dad would have said. I'm tell Heath like you downloaded your stuff, right? Like I'll be like, you're in trouble. I do not want you at this airport complaining about the Wi-Fi because you could have downloaded your anime so efficiently in minutes with our home Wi-Fi. That's being a dad in 26, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I enjoy watching movies on planes because media is so fragmented and you don't know what streaming service something is on or if it's ever going to come and did I
Hmm.
miss it? And then also there's that thing of when you're home, you're scrolling through and you're like, I don't know, do I really want to watch this? And you find yourself an
Hmm.
hour and a half later having watched nothing because you
No,
couldn't decide
nothing.
what was actually
Yep.
worth your 90 minutes. And what was worth your 90 minutes was toggling through all the different streaming services trying to make a decision and then you never end up watching anything. But on a plane, you've got this finite amount of time. You've
Hmm.
got 3 hours,
Hmm.
5 hours,
Yes.
and then that's cut down because the stewardess is coming on trying to sell you stuff or tell you that this fasten seatbelt side is on, or
Yeah.
and so then they pause your movie. But so now I'm like, ooh, I always wanted to see that, and I'm all alone in this seat,
Yeah.
and I don't have to watch what my kids want or what my wife
Mm-hmm.
approves, and so I can watch Blue Moon on this plane.
You
And
said
I did
approved.
for 90 minutes, watched the
Yeah.
film Blue Moon with Ethan Hawke and Margaret Qualley and Bobby Cannavale, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful film.
Do you ever find yourself downloading stuff, right? Like, oh, I'm going to download this. And then you actually get on the plane and you're like, I don't want this. I do not want to watch this. I want to watch something dumb or even worse, live TV, even though like I have all these like great. What I found myself eventually going is like, don't download something smart. Make sure you've got some fluff. Fluff works. Gerard Butler, that's like I'm like, I gotta finish this. I've gotta finish Den of Thieves too, you know?
You know, I so infrequently go to the movies on my own, and I so infrequently am home alone to watch like a movie I want to see that
I
I'm really
see.
capitalizing on oh, they've got a catalog here. They made a deal with MGM and Warner Brothers, and they've got some
Dude,
Oscar movies, and
you
which
are
one should I
hilarious.
watch? You know?
You are still like you still reek of network executive. You're like, oh, they must have inked a deal with MGM. Like you're like tantalized by that. Well, maybe I'll check it out. Let's see if that deal was worth the money, shall we?
Yeah. Well, I am always. I think this is the dad in me, but I've always been this way. You're at any place of business, and you're thinking, uh, and you're going, how do they make money, huh? Wonder what the rent is here. What do you think? What do you think the upsell is on this thing? I'm always fascinated by that stuff.
Your gears are going. I kind of love this free flow here. I think there's a lot. It would be really interesting is if we were on a plane together and we were like tethered to choose the same content to watch. That would be a real. I feel like that would be our version of like maybe not Thelma, more like planes, trains, and automobiles. Like I don't want to
Thelma and
watch
Louise.
this or
Is this plane going down, Ollie? Jesus.
yeah, I know that's grim. I just it's weird. It's like it is like a
Ollie,
road
you're
trip.
freezing. Why are you freezing? Shit.
I know. I am. I know. I mean, I saw you freeze. It freaks me out. I will say this
Yeah,
right
please.
now. My Wi-Fi is not super strong. I don't know why. How's your Wi-Fi? Good?
We're great, man. I'm with
What should I
Verizon. Who do you have?
Google? To be
Google Wi-Fi?
Yeah, Google Fiber.
All right, well, I think that's your problem. I mean, that's not their specialty. You know, their specialty is collecting all your data and then selling it to third parties. I don't think getting you up on Wi-Fi is kind of their thing. That's not what they're known for.
It seemed like such a premium thing. Should I like jump off and jump back
I think
on?
we're fine. I mean, like we're back. You know, if it keeps happening, we can readdress. But
Okay.
hey, look, this is real life, baby. I mean, like I don't, this is we have to go through the hard stuff. Sometimes the hard stuff is like Wi-Fi crapping out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
Just
it's
like
actually
parenting. I mean, it's and anything can happen. Did you like how I brought it back? You always got to bring it back.
Speaking of parenting, because well, I was late. We're probably 16 minutes in. Should we get into these hacks? You know what?
Yeah, I do. So we're here. We have some like life hacks,
Uh-huh.
and this was all kind of born out of the fact that like people seemed really interested in our Dave and Buster's parenting life hack, which was
Huge on
basically
TikTok.
yeah. I mean, like millions of people wrote in. I had to upgrade my mailbox memory because so many people were writing in about this Dave and Buster's life hack. And the Dave and Buster's parenting life hack is to remind you, Ollie. It's buy the season pass. Just buy the season pass. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
whole hack.
Yeah.
Why, Ollie? Because if you go to Dave and Buster's for a day and you think, oh, well, how much, they have those machines. Should we get $60 of tokens? Should we get $80 of tokens? Should we get $100? If you get $100 of tokens, you get a little bonus. But then it's gone. It's wiped out. It's like renting versus buying. It's like a summer share versus like a one-off weekend. You're
Fixed
paying
rate
a
mortgage.
premium. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so when you get the season pass, sure, it's a little bit more. I can't remember what it is now. 200, maybe 250,
Mm-hmm.
but it pays for itself. And
Hmm.
yeah, I sound like a person who maybe got taken, but I was not taken because we went to Dave and Buster's last summer dozen times. You can
Right.
go to any Dave and Buster's. You find
Hmm.
yourself in Tennessee. I don't know why you would, but maybe you're on a road trip and you don't know what to do. There's Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
It's almost like Dave and Buster's you would think is paying us to say this, but they are not. Dave and Buster's has given me $0. In fact, negative money. I've given them money to talk about this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you know it's good. This is called word of mouth. You understand?
So I think. Hold on. Let me understand. Let me unpack this concept you speak of
Please.
called word of mouth. Let me unpack why we have enjoyed Dave and Buster's, and part of it is this: is all of us do. Now, we are three individual people by a variety of factors, by sex, by age, and also, oddly enough, the adults, the division by generation is huge too. Because Briley is I think she's more on a cusp. Well, she's not cusp Gen Xer, but she's firmly Gen X, right? I was born in 77, so
You
I'm
better keep
Gen
her
X.
there. I don't think your wife would like being called on the edge of boomer.
Well, I messed up. Well, no, because what is 68? Because her brother is
Your wife
68.
is 68 years old.
No, no. Her brother was born in 68. She was born in 72. I was born in 77. I bring all this up to say something very simple. I was brought up in the age of 8-bit Nintendo. She was brought up with going, oh, yeah, video games are like that thing at the arcade. She did not have the home video game experience. I say all this because she's not really into video games. She doesn't really understand it. It's like, why is this such a big deal? However, my son's a gamer. I grew up in the 80s video game era, and she enjoys Dave and Buster's. So, what's great is it's kind of a concession for all of us. Also, I'll just say it, this is a safe space for dad to have a beer. You know what I mean? You can have a beer with the family, and it's not like, oh, what's going on there? Why is that guy walking around with a beer? It's like a sports game. You know what I mean? This is where parents can go and drink and not be shamed. So there's that factor. And then to your point, the spend issue. Because if you kind of nickel and dime it, you end up spending more than it feels comfortable. But when you just say, hey, we're all in, you don't actually spend as much as you would, I think, nickel and diming, which is also why, Neil, the Khan family is firmly in the era of the buffet restaurant. Now, as someone who's like a food guy, you'd be like, dude, this is not a good idea. But there's some places that it's not that frowned upon amongst the food elite, like a hot pot. I mean, hot pots are kind of known to be like, oh yeah, it's like all you can eat. Or say Korean barbecue. That's like not the worst thing in the world. My guy, a couple like over the weekend with my son's volleyball team, club volleyball team. You gotta remember, this is like 25 people, 30 people all trying to get lunch. Going to a restaurant is a 2-hour affair. So if you go to a buffet, it's just very easy. We went to one of those buffets that was like sushi, barbecue, Korean barbecue, too much food. Like this can't be good. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad. There were some misses, don't get me wrong. There were some misses. But it's just so great when the bill is just obvious and easy. Like we're not trying to be like Anthony Bourdain swimming in a little river looking for a bowl of pho. You know what I mean? Like I'm deep in the fam game here, you know? And these things, Dave and Buster's and all you can eat quadruple genre buffet restaurants make sense. That's it.
Yeah. What are some tips at the buffet as a dad? What are the
My
buffet tips?
God, so I will say this, and I'm not going to be the dude who's going to be like, oh, do these people know who I am? But I think some of these guys have an inkling that I'm like really into food. You know what I mean? That's it, right? And it was interesting because this buffet did lean heavy on the Asian side, and there are some folks on the team who were like from Taiwan, from Vietnam, and I look to people like that. I'm like, my guy, you know what I mean? Help me out here. Tell me, I kind of know my dim sum, but you probably have this really dialed down. You're from Taiwan. So I went in there and I flexed a learned strategy from my years going to Las Vegas, which is don't confuse the genres. Start with something and then end the right way. So, you know, it's like you don't have ice cream and then switch to soup. You know what I mean? Like I basically create a coursed out meal. I try to not mix up the culinary genres. So I will go for the chilled food first. My first course was I rolled the dice on the raw oysters. I literally ate this oyster going, this could be one of the biggest food regrets of my life. It was actually fine. So I did all chilled seafood first. That was my first round. Then I moved into the sushi. After I had the sushi, I took a pause and I said to myself, if I go hot, I can't go back to cold. This is it. Are you done with the cold? Have you had enough sushi? Sushi wasn't that great. The chilled head-on shrimp was delicious. So I went
Your
back for seconds on
the
the cold.
buffet sushi wasn't that great.
It sounds obvious, but there were bigger pitfalls. You know, like, look, you know what's crazy with this place too? By the way, this was $30. Not bad.
Per
Not bad.
person?
Yeah. I mean, it was the lunch price, but like there was fast food's like 10, $15 a person, really. So then I went into the hot. I'm a big fan of salt and pepper shrimp. They had like a lot of like Asian stuff in there too. And then, so I was in the hot for a bit. I had some dim sum that was god awful. Probably the worst dim sum I've ever had. I've had better dumplings from the freezer. Shout out Bibigo. Excellent Korean style dumplings you can get from the freezer section. I would eat those before what I had at this restaurant. They were terrible. And then one of the dads was like, actually, it was a kid. The kid's like, I'll take you to the steak. And I'm like, what? Okay. This 14-year-old boy just like guides me to this corner of the buffet. And there's people waiting. You know what I mean? Like when you find that one food station where the people in the know are like, oh yeah, like they're just waiting, salivating. And there's
Was someone there carving? Was there a carver?
no, they were cooking these they were half New York strips and they were cooking them to order. And honestly, as a man who grills supermarket steaks whenever I can, they're still expensive. I was like, this steak ain't bad. Like, I was pretty proud to do it. It was not total garbage. There was garbage there, but the steak was solid for $30 on the shrimp and steak alone. So worth it, Neil. I think you would have appreciated it. I mean, I don't know.
Love a buffet. You know, when we were just on our vacation, most of it was buffet style. There were a
Yeah.
few restaurants. My favorite meal, and this is in Mexico, by the way, was an Asian restaurant on the premises where the meal was this. Oh, I gotta find out what the name was because it was so good. I think it was Taman or something. Like they had conveyor belt sushi. And so the waiter told us, when you're done with the conveyor belt sushi, when you feel like you're done, let me know. And then you can come do the Korean barbecue. And you come up and you pick your veggies and then you pick your protein. I picked several proteins. And then order your ramen. And then I'll bring your ramen over.
Oh my
It was,
God, my kid would love this.
dude, it was the best meal I had there. In Mexico was ramen, Korean barbecue, and sushi.
So I'm going to throw this out there because I've been to Mexico many times. You have not, right? Was this your first time
That was
there?
my first time, yeah.
So I've been to Mexico many times, and a couple of things broadly to point out as someone who's literally been guided by food there is Mexico is a fascinating country for food because as a country itself, they have 18 different states, and there's a lot of variety in the cuisine just amongst those states because it's the topography, the geography, it all changes. There's that. And like Mexico City is renowned to be literally the best food city in North America because it's an international city. And they're into their food. You know what I mean? They're into their food. And they're a big tourism. Their tourism's big. People love to take vacations there. They build these, as you've seen, very beautiful resorts. And when they did the all inclusive, I think they understood the old American tourism idea of I'm going to Mexico, which means I'm going to get hammered, and basically feeding into that degree of excess. And then I think they figured out the family version of that, which is like it's what we're talking about, which is let's just make people feel comfortable about what they have to spend, and they're turning it over, and they can do it at volume as well. And yeah, I've had some food that's been bad. I've had horrible food at all inclusives, but even at the bad ones, what's interesting is things like the papaya fruit. Some of the fruit is amazing there. It really puts the fruit we accept generally, like the free fruit at the breakfast buffet in Hampton Inn, that fruit's garbage, right? So the fruit's usually good. But then when you described your spot, I was sat here going, let's see, because it could have been real dog water food, you know? However, you went to a good one. They know what they're doing. This has been a business model of theirs that has existed for decades. And I know you had to deal with the timeshare hustle, but I think you earned. I think it was worth it, even though I wouldn't do it. You put in the work, Neil, because I was like, you probably ate at a really ripping one, and they know what they're doing. And also, this is also what they're smart, dude. They know. What do you think? You're coming from New York City. Like, these are the foods that are super popular now. Like, Heath being into ramen, you think he's the only one? I mean, he's super obsessed about it because of anime, but these are the popular foods when they're dads. When Zeke and Heath are dads, that'll be like, yeah, we're having ramen for Thanksgiving. It's just a different, cheers to the new generation.
The Pilgrims would they'd be rolling in their graves.
That meal was terrible. You know it was bad, especially when they get into the historical elements.
We should do for this Thanksgiving. It's a ways away. We should do the original. What was the original meal?
Yeah, it was like venison, bear meat. I mean, come on, dude. It was you don't want to. There's no
Don't yuck
romance.
someone's yum. Don't yuck the Pilgrim's yum. All right.
No, dude, I don't know.
All right. So let's talk about some parenting life hacks because we established that Dave and Buster's was our way in. People loved it.
And don't side eye buffet restaurants. Some of
Yeah.
them are good.
Buffet life hack. All right. Do you know about the Children's Museum parenting life hack?
Actually, yes, yes.
Tell me. What do you know? What do you know?
So at one point we were, I want to say maybe Heath was a little younger than Zeke, right? But we were constantly in this haze of what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And like we didn't give him, iPads and all that stuff came way later. He was already like 9, 10 years old, so, and also he was easily entertained. When I was home with Heath, I took him to museums all the time. So that became like just part of the package or whatever. And then at some point, we were in Philadelphia, and there's a lot of great museums there. And you know what it is? Like the touch and play science ones. Those are like, they're almost like going
touch.
to. Yeah. It's almost like a friggin', Disneyland for nerds or whatever you want to call it, or educational. Let's call it educational. That's mean. Nerds run the world, literally. I wish I was one. I'm just dumb. But we started to barely figure this out. She goes, "Oh, she would find the museums because some of them are pricey. You know what I mean? Like these museums, you're like 30, 60, 90, like, whoa, this is real money here. I could be at the buffet right now." So we started to figure out like we would get the memberships, much like Dave and Buster's. We could backtrack it. You know what it is? These memberships are really good in the long run because, your kid is going to be bored more than once. That's what it is. Your kid's going to be bored more than once. Get ahead of the problem. That's what I know. That's
That's exactly right. No, you're exactly right. And so the Children's Museum parenting life hack is essentially this: get the membership. But here's why. Okay. So, a couple reasons. The membership, the amortization on it, of course, if it's somewhere close to you, you can go more than once. For us, our local, museum for kids is the New York Hall of Science in Queens, which is right by the USTA where they do the US Open. And the New York Hall of Science is incredible because it's exactly what you say. There's math, there's science, there's engineering, there's building. They have this whole section about like disabled technology and like my kids, they do shows. They'll have like a person do like, explosions, volcanoes, whatever. Like, and they're constantly changing it over. And so every time they go, there's a whole bubble station. So that we've gone dozens of times. And it never gets old. There's a room. There's an entire room where you can like move things with your finger, like a screen. And it's like you're in this giant nature thing. And you do the membership, and it's like I don't know, $150 for the year for the family. You go as many times.
Whoa! I was gonna say, let's talk scratch. 50 for the year for all of
Is that
you?
a lot?
That's nothing.
Yeah,
Who
no,
would
it's
spend
crazy.
$200 to go to a movie?
No, exactly. And that's the thing. But now here's the other reason you get the membership, and this is where I thought you were going with it, is they have these reciprocal networks. And this is true for
Yeah,
adult museums too, but we're parenting podcasts. So the Children's Museum Parenting Life Hack is get the membership
yeah,
because not only is it going to pay for itself if you go like twice, but it will
yeah.
allow you to go to other museums in other cities. So the networks are the ACM reciprocal network is the American Children's Museum Network.
Hmm.
There's the ASTC, which is the Association of Science Technology Centers, and then there's the NARM, which is the North American Reciprocal Museum Network. But basically, what it means is you find yourself in another city,
Hmm.
and they have a children's museum there. There's a very good chance that they also will either allow you in with your existing membership or give you like a mega discount, like 50% off or something. And
Yeah, yeah,
so if you do your research, I'm not saying just show up to a random city and say, oh, there's a children's museum here. Like
yeah.
you can know in advance which ones accept your same membership. And it's like, if you like to travel or you're thinking you're going to major cities a lot with your kid, like, boom, you got a built in activity that you don't have to pay for. What are the most popular museums that participate in these networks? I'm glad you asked, Ollie. California Science Center, the
We
Museum
used
of
to go
Science and
there.
Industry, boom. The Boston Children's Museum, Please Touch Museum in Philadelphia. The Children's Museum of Pittsburgh is supposed to be amazing.
Yeah,
And I mean, like, and there's so many like museums for kids in New York. There's the Brooklyn Children's Museum, there's the New York Hall of Science, like I mentioned. And then, of course, if you want to go like, want to level up a little bit, you just go to like the MoMA or the Met or, like adult museums. Kids are interested in that stuff too. My daughter said a year ago, she's like, over winter break, oh, I really want to go see Starry Night. And we were like, yeah, let's go into Manhattan. Let's go see Starry Night because
yeah,
we live in the greatest city in the world and you can just go do that. But you got
yeah.
to have the membership. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can also see this stuff on Google Images, but more importantly, I think the best thing about, especially the fun museums, because I did not grow up with fun museums. You know what I mean? The whole like interactive stuff. And when I look back, because what's funny is, sadly, this era is far, far removed. It's in the past. We don't need to do this stuff anymore. But it is so great if you are a parent that's just like struggling to either find a reason to tell your kid why they don't have an iPad or just keep them off the screens for a bit. It's a great way to, keep them active, engaged, stimulated, and God forbid they actually might learn something. But for me, museum, I had a year when between the ages, I don't know, he was like 1 to 2 ish. And basically, I wasn't working, so I just stayed home with him. We canceled daycare. I went to California Science. I went to the dinosaur museum. I mean, we would go like every day, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I just needed something to do. And of course, like, I wasn't paying every time. Like, we just got whatever membership we needed. And yeah, it's pennies. I mean, it's just it goes to show you, it's weird. There's real value there. And that's similar to, frankly, like the credit card hustle. Like, you show up to the hotel and you're like, do you not have the points? You got to get into these programs. Like, you are leaving money on the table. Pat over. This is so you. You know what I mean? I just like how brilliant is a credit card hustle with like freaking hotels. This is so you with museums. Just be prepared for when. I mean, it'll happen to Cece first, but maybe she'll still be interested because Zeke's interested. When they're just like, I don't want to go to the museum, or maybe they will. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
When
Well,
I
the thing
think,
about,
yeah,
I know you don't have this experience. I'm finding that the thing that's interesting about siblings, having two kids
hmm,
who are 2.5 years apart, is my daughter at 8, brings our 5-year-old up to her level a bit, and then he brings her down to his level. So,
cool,
like, I'll find like he's exposed to certain like shows and media and books and stuff that like other 5-year-olds don't
right?
know about. They don't have an older sister. And then it's almost like she stays a little younger because she'll watch,
Yeah,
some of the like Daniel Tiger or, Gabby's Dollhouse, which I don't really think 8-year-olds are watching anymore, but
hmm,
because she's got the younger brother, she'll kind of stay in that a little. So it's like, it's really sweet. They like push and pull each
that's
other
cool.
into each other's worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I could see that, and that's well. Look, maybe the museum thing will keep going. All right, so we've covered the museum hack,
So
right?
actually, you mentioned something, and I'm curious your take on this. And I've never done this, but
Mm.
one of the hacks in our research that came up because you mentioned like credit card points in hotels is the hotel breakfast life hack, the hotel breakfast parenting life hack, which is essentially you go to a hotel in your hometown and you go pay like $10 for the buffet, and your kids feel like they're getting this experience, and it's like a vacation.
I
You're, have you ever heard of
wow.
this?
So no, I haven't. I haven't. And I think it's because well here I have questions. One is what hotels are we talking about? Like what is what yeah, what hotel are we talking about? What am I getting for the $10? Like I'm curious.
I have no idea. I just like people say that they do this. I've never done it. I've never attempted. And I thought you,
Okay.
as the food guy who's traveled a lot, maybe had heard of this in your travels.
Well, I will position it like this. Heath when he is an immediacy when it comes to breakfast. There's no like, shall we muse on where we shall go for brunch? He's just like, no, I just want to eat. Like, I can't. It is rare for us to ever even go out for like a fast breakfast in town or whatever, too. So when we're traveling, what we found, and it just helps a lot, especially when like on a long vacation too. But certainly in this era of like club sports, where a hotel level a Hyatt Place, a Hampton Inn, those hotels that are like they're kind of like they're affordable. They're obviously a step up from the dirtbag motel. It's like I swear, like every time you go to these places, it's just made for like parents with like young athletes or whatever. They come with the breakfast buffet, and it's just it's done. It's over with. Like okay, we have no time. You have to be at this thing. Sometimes it's 7:30 in the morning. Like there's nothing open. Like we just have to go there. Yeah, it'll be like freaking steamy firm, overcooked scrambled eggs and stuff like that. But it's food, it's nourishment. I get coffee. Let's go. So, and I say so. I mean, just going to Starbucks for three, let alone four, you're gonna spend like $60. It's crazy. And for what? Kind of like all
And for what?
and for what? Frickin' so for some person to use a glorified microwave and they have health insurance and I don't. Well, not through a good corporate plan, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's our experience with it. I feel like yeah, I mean honestly too, like it just makes so much sense given Heath like he just wants to eat breakfast at home immediately. There's no time to be like, "Oh, let's go out." If we're on vacation in a different country, even then it'll be like, "Let's just get a pastry." You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Nobody has patience, and certainly kids don't. It's something you have to learn and work on. We all get hangry, no matter the age, you know?
Hangry. Do you get
Yeah.
hangry? Do you get hangry?
Yeah. Yeah, I try to be better about it, but I mean, it's Maslow's hierarchy, man. Like it's one of our needs. Food,
Is
sleep.
do other people get hangry? Who is it?
Yeah, dude. Have I mean, I don't know if this is your experience or if it's in the past, but like my kids will be like really mean to us and mean to each other, and then all of a sudden they eat and then they're just fine, and you're like, you were hungry, right, right, right. Like I
Yeah,
think we
yeah,
forget because when the baby is screaming, wah, wah, wah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then they're fed, then they're soothed and calm. That doesn't stop. We're human beings. We get
yeah,
hungry and then we act. I mean, it's that
yeah,
Snickers commercial. You're not yourself when you're hungry. I mean, that's
yeah.
what do you think? They came up with that out of nowhere? No. Advertising executives, creative directors were basing that on the real experience of humanity. And then they said, let's sell some candy bars, but
You
let's
know
do
what's
it in a way
weird
that
about
captures the
hangry?
human experience.
I feel like that's what it is. It's like I feel like it's almost an adult phenomenon because when you bring it up to kids, you're like, of course. I mean, the whole point of why I brought up why we don't go out for breakfast is like he won't allow it. Like he's like, no, I want to eat now. I'm like, okay, fine. We're eating here. I'm saving money anyways.
All right, Ali Khan, are you familiar with the Home Depot parenting life hack?
No, I'm trying to imagine it. I'm
I
trying to
wasn't
imagine it.
I wasn't either. The Home Depot parenting life hack is this. You just set up your kid at a workshop, which apparently they do once a month, the first Saturday of every month. I can't believe I've never heard of this, and I have an 8-year-old. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Most Home Depots that do this, it's open house style. You arrive anytime. Workshops are 20 to 30 minutes. Your kids build something. It's totally free. It's usually like a wooden birdhouse or something. They give them tools. They let them paint. They give them a pin. You know, it's almost like the Home Depot equivalent of like getting your wings on a flight.
Okay.
And it's good for kids age 5 to 12. So,
Okay.
you're out of it, but I've got a few years left.
Yeah.
Parents can assist the kids with hammering, reading the instructions if they need to. But yeah, I mean, essentially, Home Depot's got this like free
Wood
20,
shop.
30-minute babysitting thing, and kids get to build and learn and, do a little wood shop.
So I have some practical questions that I think or many viewers would have to ask too, because I could see how this works for some Home Depots in certain parts of the country more than others. Have you been to a Home Depot, Neil?
In my life?
Yes.
Come on. Do I
I mean,
breathe? Yeah, of course.
do you go often? Like, what's your experience? Like, are you a Home Depot guy? Do
I
you get
don't
lost there?
I don't think this will come as any surprise to anyone who's listened to more than one episode. I am not the builder in the family, but I will accompany my wife on the ride, and sometimes she'll send me to a different aisle to retrieve something, and I do my best to find it. But yes, of
Does
course
Shira swing a hammer? Does Shira swing a hammer?
Yeah.
We have a lot in common because
Exactly.
that's totally, yeah, I don't do it either. I'm quite lost. I'm every time I'm at Home Depot, I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm lost. I'm not a Home Depot guy really. I'm just not. It's clear
Sure.
you aren't either. Part of it too is so there's that. So I would be kind of like very lost general. It's not the natural place for me to go. A B. Um, Going to Home Depot in LA was kind of akin to doing a 5-year prison sentence. The parking lot, the lines, like it was just not. It was the amount of stress, and I'd actually say that's true with going to Trader Joe's in L.A., Whole Foods in L.A. Like it was, you would lose a chunk of your day trying to do these
Well,
things.
when were you going? I mean, did you not learn to go on off-peak hours?
24/7. Dude, the Home Depot on friggin' Sunset by the 101, it was always bad, dude. It was always bad. Like maybe it was good in the pandemic when everything in the world was shut down, but it was just not it was crazy. Like going to the Home Depot here is easy, going to the grocery store is easy, driving at 5 p.m. is much more manageable. So I say all that because I think for some people they'd be like, dude, the last thing I want to do is deal with a Home Depot with my young child. But
Fair enough.
basically living in a more suburban type lifestyle, even though we're in the city, it's like I could see myself doing it. So that's because I could imagine Home Depot being a freaking zoo in New York City because it was a zoo in LA.
Yeah, I think it depends on the neighborhood. I mean, if you're talking about Manhattan, but if you're in Queens or, the Bronx, Brooklyn, they're less
It's a
traffic.
kinder, gentler Home Depot there.
A little bit, maybe, yeah. But you mentioned, does my wife swing a hammer? And she does, and she loves to build, and her favorite thing to do is build IKEA furniture. She calls it high stakes Legos, and you ready for
Dude,
the
nobody has said that. She enjoys, dude, it is, oh my God. Wow, dude, you married a catch. That's impressive. She literally does a thing that, like, that's like special forces stuff. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
So
What?
are you ready for the IKEA parenting life hack?
Well, you mean the whole babysitting thing?
No, that was Home Depot.
No. But they had they used to watch. I remember that was a whole thing that was a viral story. People would like leave their kids at IKEA and go to work until eventually they were like, yeah, like
Who would
they
watch
like
who would watch their kids?
they had a day. So there was a thing where while you this is before we had kids, big
Okay.
kid, child, but apparently, yeah, you got to dig this up. So like, and it was in New York City too. There were people like, because it was so crazy in such a zoo, you'd be like, yeah, yeah, just watch your kid. We'll watch your kid while you go shop. And people did that, and they freaking went to work. They went and worked a job, and they come back, and then eventually they're like, wait a minute, this kid's been here all day. Because the truth is when it's not your kid, they all look the same. But yeah, that was like a thing. I mean, this is a long time ago, Neil. This was a long time ago. It was
Yeah,
so,
that sounds like it doesn't really pass the smell test for, waivers and consent
I'm
and
just saying,
child
but I
safety
mean, this is
background
what
checks.
people did.
Uh-huh.
This has been
Yeah.
reported in the media. I didn't make this up. I wish I did. That would be amazing.
Okay.
But yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But what's your hack, or what is the
Yeah,
other hack?
that's not the one I had, but the IKEA parenting life hack that we're talking about is a little bit simpler, a little bit gentler, and it's this: if you don't know what to do with your kids on a rainy day or a day they have off from school, go to IKEA. That's the hack. Here's
Okay.
why. Well, listen, despite the, I guess, discontinued daycare program, without that, there are still other benefits to bringing your kids to IKEA. So there's massive amounts of like giant furniture and floors that they can run around on without worrying about breaking anything. Okay, so they can get their wiggles out. So like rainy day, you can't go to the
Nice.
playground, okay?
Nice.
And maybe you didn't spring for the Dave and Buster's season pass. Well, IKEA
Mhm.
is free. You can go to IKEA. It's free. If you sign up for the IKEA family membership, also free. You get some discounts. They've got that cafeteria. Yeah, that's right. They got hot
That's
dogs. They got
right.
ice
Food.
cream. They
The
got
food.
Swedish meatballs. Kids'
Yeah.
meals are like $3. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Come
You're
on.
right. The food. The food
They're
thing's huge
subsidizing
because
that stuff, I'm sure, just to get you to buy like a desk and a lamp. That's fine.
yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah.
succumb to the peer pressure if you don't want to make a major purchase. Just go, have some fun, look around, scout, do some research, and eat at the cafeteria. Go to IKEA with your kids. It's a great place to be, okay? It's built-in entertainment. And here's the other thing, Ollie, about IKEA that I'll say is you may think, but I don't want to go shopping. I don't want to go to IKEA. I don't need anything from IKEA. I don't need to buy anything. I just I don't need anything from IKEA today. But here's the thing. You always need something from IKEA. You go there and you go, oh, you know what? We actually do need this holder for the cords. Yes, we ran our light bulbs are all like. You always need something from IKEA. They have everything. Do you live in a house? I'm sorry to the unhoused people listening. That's a whole other thing which we address on other episodes. But if you have a home, if you
Mhm.
live somewhere, you always need something from IKEA. So just take your kids to IKEA. It's a great parenting life hack. Go to IKEA.
No, there are, it's kind of funny if you think about it, like every other furniture store is not kid friendly. Like they aren't. Well, maybe like a Haverty's, which is more of a Texasy locally thing, or maybe Rooms to Go. But IKEA is a kid friendly furniture store. I'd even wager this too. It's actually just fine to browse. Like you can just go there, browse, soak it all in. Again, this is an era that's long past us. This is in the rear view, but we would go there a bit, and it was like kind of, it just kind of with when you're solo and you just need something quickly, IKEA is a waste of time. However, all of these hacks they share one thing, which is what do we need? What we need to kill some time. I need to figure out time between naps, feeding, and sleep. You know what I mean? It's like, what do I do?
Which again, you got to be careful because we learned from the movie Click. You don't want to kill too much time because then you miss all the good stuff. But
You know what I
yes,
realized? That whole thing was based on a Jetsons episode with a device called Replay. That's basically what it is. He had a remote, but he would rewind. It was like a remote control for life, but then you could rewind, fast forward, but then there was a race, and George hit the erase button, and he ended up finding himself in the future not married. So yeah, I guarantee you Adam
oh,
Sandler like would pitch them a Jetsons plot and they were like, what am I saying? It was probably some
hey,
crackerjack writer.
Ollie, I got a movie idea for you.
Yeah, maybe funny too. Like,
Just
okay.
Simon George Jetson. You remember that one?
Hey,
Scooby
the
Doo.
box office says it all. You know what I mean? Hey, I thoroughly entertained watching all 81 minutes of Happy Gilmore. Was that 81? I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
so we got IKEA. What's next?
Yeah. Well,
That's a
you
good
also
one.
reminded me before we move on from IKEA, the other thing about IKEA is it's kind of like a nice pretend like role play. Your kid can be like, a homemaker or like a designer or just like, the last time we went, Cece was just like, I want this to be my new bedroom. I want this to be my new bedroom. I want this to be my new bedroom. And it's just like it's like world building almost. Did you ever see that web series they did like way early YouTube days called IKEA Heights?
No,
They shot like a web series in an IKEA.
no kidding.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun.
Where's the IKEA for you in New York? Where do you go?
The one in Dumbo, there's an IKEA. There's not
It's
Dumbo.
so
It's
funny. Always
Red Hook.
assume
Sorry,
that.
Red Hook. Red Hook.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So like it's so funny. It's always hard for me because my first exposure to New York City was honestly late 90s when I was in Manhattan. And I was like, I never saw a McDonald's back then. It was really weird. And then I think over time things started to open up that represented like the rest of America, right? I mean, eventually Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. I remember when Jamba Juice opened, that was a big thing living in LA in the 90s, the whole juice trend or whatever.
Yes.
So it's funny to think about things like that I associate with not New York City in my mind as like so accessible. In Austin, going to IKEA is a schlep, my friend. I got to frickin' drive 30 minutes flat, no traffic.
Yeah.
It's actually it's a mission. It's like, yep, it's a weekend thing. It is not a weekday
I
thing.
guess that's why so many suburban dads are listening to podcasts.
Yeah, podcasts are for driving, man, or
Yeah.
walking the
Sorry
dog.
for driving. Yeah, we're walking. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's what I do.
that's our IKEA spiel.
Okay.
But you mentioned another favorite with which I have a very specific parenting life hack, and that's our old friend TJ, Trader Joe's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a place I've really come around to. I used to loathe it in the late 90s. Oh yeah, I wasn't. Well, I had friends, like we were right after college and they were like I had one particular roommate who was a big foodie guy and he was from England, but he wasn't much of a cook. He loved to eat, wasn't much. He didn't want to roll up his sleeves and cook a lot
Okay.
personally,
Okay.
but loves food, big food guy. And he would always be like, "Oh, I love Trader Joe's," and he'd just be drinking the cheap plunk and having some kind of insta meal. And I was like, and I'd go there and I'd be like, "This sucks. There's nothing I want." I had my shopping list in my mind, and then what I realized is, no, you have to shop with what Trader Joe's gives you, and if you find value in certain things they have, then there's no substitute. It
Yeah.
becomes its own experience. And
Yeah.
now with Heath, like he literally eats this damn penne arrabbiata.
Yeah,
Th-
that's good.
He eats it like every other day, dude. It's crazy. Like he'll eat it as a snack.
You know what Trader Joe's did so brilliantly, and you can probably speak to this even better than me as the cheap eats, what's it worth guy. But
Good
like
one.
they took, yeah, see, I like that plug.
Yeah.
Everybody go watch What's It Worth. Is that what it's called? What's your what's
I
this?
mean, I don't know. It's just YouTube shit. Just
Yeah. All
call
right,
it what it is.
we'll offline. Go watch
Yeah,
the
yeah.
YouTube shit. But like the idea that you know, their brand is an absence of brand because it used to be like, oh, it's just a knockoff, it's the generic, it's the I
Right.
forget what is it, white label or black label? What's the what
Yeah,
it's called
yeah,
when it's
yeah.
brand
There's something.
when it's
I don't know.
wholesale? But like they
Dog
took
whistling.
that, and they're basically like, oh, you know what? We can make it cheaper because we're not going to do Cheerios, we're going to do Jozo's.
Yeah, yeah.
That itself it becomes the brand. The brand is having no brand, and so it's kind of brilliant. They're just like, oh yeah, it's like the same shit, right? It's just that we don't have the license to put the yellow box with the little Cheerios logo, but it's the same factory, and so we're gonna put it in a different thing, and then we're gonna make our own thing. The whole idea is it's the absence of a brand, and so they created this brand that is brandless. It's kind of brilliant.
I mean, the other thing too is you can dive into like the whole Reddit world and obviously even like the YouTube reviews stuff too. Like, but their brand is a good product. Like, there's one thing where it's like, oh, this sucks, it's not as good. But I'd even argue, like, in the case of Cheerios, will you really taste the difference? I think in the case of Cheerios versus Trader Joe's O's, I mean, you're talking about two versions of a bland cereal product that you eat for health reasons. The draw of Cheerios, honestly, is the magnificent yellow box. Like when we occasionally buy a Cheerios and have to pay the expense that it costs, it is an amazing yellow. Like that it's like when you see like an expensive car. And we have a friend who works for car design for Lexus, and he literally was like, "Oh yeah, it took us like 400 versions to come up with that blue." That's what that Cheerios yellow is. A lot of it's like Devil Wears Prada, when she goes, "Oh, this sweater took all this time. It's not just from Banana Republic." You're like, I guess you're right. There is a lot of stuff in it, but in the end of the day, you take it out of the damn box. You eat it for health. I'm doing it to prevent colon cancer. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if the box is yellow. But I think Trader Joe's, like, their product is also, it's unnoticeable in some places, in
Mm.
some versions, and then some of them are just like really interesting, innovative products that people are willing to try because it's like, oh yeah, I got it at Trader Joe's. If you think about it, if you're an individual, like, I get this great like Vietnamese instant pho, right? It's by Snapdragon, and they have a pretty cool lineup of stuff, but like you have to like go and find it. But you're already at Trader Joe's. You're already at Trader Joe's. They've got their hooks in you. They probably have their own version that's probably as good. But the idea is, oh, this is so easy and convenient. Like this is what I kind of said in a YouTube video about Trader Joe's. Like, it's not cooking; it's kind of like paint by numbers. It's like assembling. But a lot of people need that. You know what I mean? Or it has its value. Or like when I have to like make two meals because I can't eat penne arrabbiata every other day. My doctor will not enjoy it. Neither will my blood work. I can just
Well,
make
it's
something for him and be done with it. And it's not bad.
interesting that you say that Trader Joe's food is not cooking because I saw Jose Andres say that microwaving is cooking. So,
I mean, I will, first of all, think microwaving. Well, it depends what you're
meaning that
microwaving.
if you are taking food and doing anything to it and then consuming that food, that is cooking.
You know what? I think that there is a level of investment in cooking that I find Trader Joe's to be light in. Like and also like I think part of the charm of it is more often than not, like I think well, I shouldn't say this for everybody, but when I talk to my friend who loves Trader Joe's and has loved it forever, and even threw me shade for saying, "Oh, now you like Trader Joe's now," he'll be the first person to say, "I won't touch the seafood, I won't buy the meat, all the things that are the perimeter parts of the grocery store that a lot of people say, oh, the Michael Pollins of the world would be like, this is where we should be eating." Trader Joe's is actually antithetical to that. It is not the Michael Pollan food world that he envisions.
Yeah, their produce leaves something to be desired, although it's gotten better in my experience. It's
I
gotten a little
mean,
bit better.
look, it's I think what it is like you just what I resented about Trader Joe's was you have to bend to its will. Whereas if I show up with the recipe, I'm gonna get screwed. Like, oh, but I needed kohlrabi or whatever. But yeah, it's life
Can I
is
tell
life
you
is a negotiation. I don't know.
can I tell you the Trader Joe's parenting life hack?
Oh, yeah, damn it! Why did you let me get off track?
No, I mean, this is a dad show. I know sometimes we veer into other topics. This is the Trader Joe's parenting life hack. It's the Trader Joe's stuffed animal hunt. Do you know about it?
Okay, no, I don't.
It doesn't sound familiar to you at all.
No, and the funny thing is if you see any like hint of familiarity, it's because you kind of mentioned it to me earlier when we talked about this. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, that's right. We prepare for this show a little bit, guys. That's right. Give a little
Yeah,
heads up as to what we'll be talking about today.
yeah.
So, the Trader Joe's parenting life hack, the Trader Joe's stuffed animal hunt is this. It's basically participating Trader Joe's across the country hide a stuffed animal
They do
somewhere in
that.
the store.
They do that.
Yeah. And your kid has to find it. And if they find it and you tell an associate or a crew member, as they call, you get a prize. The prize could be like a sticker or a lollipop or a pen or I don't know what they're giving out over the
Okay.
Trader Joe's. But it's like so brilliant because anyone who has kids knows what a nightmare it can be to go food shopping with your kids, grocery
Yeah.
shopping with your kids, because
Yeah.
they're like, I want that, I want that, I want to run around, I want to do this. It gives them a purpose,
Hmm.
it gives them a goal, it gives them a journey, and If they have a sibling, if you got more than one, they can become like a team. I looked over here. Did you look over there?
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Trader Joe's, they'll move the item every time you come in, so it's not like it's always in the same place. So they're like, I wonder if we'll be able to find it today. And it keeps them a little bit busy. Now, if your kid gets a little too good at this game, you just blew, your whole trip. You got to find another way to entertain them. But hopefully your kid struggles a little bit with finding this stuffed animal. You get a good 20, 30 minutes of food shopping, stress free. And the cool thing, and this is what I think is so interesting about Trader Joe's too, is like they let each store kind of put their own personality on it. So they don't all have the same like standardized corporate stuffed animal. They pick a store mascot. So it could be like a penguin or a monkey or a sloth, octopus, duck, dinosaur, I guess a lobster. I think one Trader Joe's had a lobster do this. And
Is it
like it's a
big? It's got to be small-ish, right? I imagine. I kind of want to do this challenge myself.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like just another fun little thing that Trader Joe's does for the kids in addition to just asking a million different questions about what you're doing this weekend. You ever feel like when you go into Trader Joe's and you're at the checkout like you're being interrogated?
I'm not gonna. I will be honest with you. I almost never go. Really likes to go. She's like, I'll just go to Trader Joe's. She really likes. So she deals with it. I rarely. I can count probably on maybe two hands. Maybe how many times I've gone to Trader Joe's since we've lived here in Austin. We went more in LA. And actually, I have my own grocery store hack, which is and the answer is places why we don't go to Trader Joe's often. But yeah, don't really
Want to
deal with the
share?
Trader Joe's.
You
What's
want to
that?
share you want to share the Ali Khan grocery store?
Sure. So what's kind of sweet is whenever we see this cart, we get so nostalgic because when we moved here, Heath was 3, and so I certainly for those first couple of years, we would go to our main grocery store, which is HEB, which is basically a Texas chain. Not all everywhere through the state, but oddly enough, they have a few locations in Mexico, and it single-handedly pretty much eliminated the reason to go to Trader Joe's because it is a phenomenal large scale supermarket for value and quality. Like it has a very good reputation. By far it is by far the best chain offering in Texas. They have grocery store carts that are, they look like race cars. Like there's only so many per store, so you have to like hopefully get one. And yeah, when he was like 3, 4, 5, hopefully score one of those things. And it solved the dilemma of taking your young child into the grocery store. And then eventually that morphed into buying a Hot Wheels car. So that was the other hack too. And the Hot Wheels car is like literally 97 cents. I mean, I remember like a Hot Wheels was a big deal back in the day, but buying one for even all the way up until now is like hilarious. And what's funny is both these things are things that we kind of like miss, like the era when grocery store shopping was so challenging. It involved a low lift present or waiting hard eyeballing someone for the race car grocery cart. But that's what we would do. That's what we would do.
That's
One day
fun.
I'll put you in one of those, Neil. I'll get you in there. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
So what about Target? You guys ever go to Target as a family?
Yeah. We'll do the Target. I find myself going there a little bit more lately. It was weird when Target started to sell food. But, again, never had to really navigate. I think when we took Heath to Target and he was really, really young, he was so young, it was like easy. It was just talking to him was kind of entertaining. You know what I mean? But not heavy in our rotation. For you?
We go to Target quite a bit, and here is the Target life hack, and it's a three-step process. Here is how to survive going to Target with your kids.
Okay.
Ready? Okay. Uh, Number one, start in the dollar spot section. Let them pick out, give them like $2 or $3. Say, all right, each have $3. They have like a dollar bin. It's all junk, but like it's you don't build to the prize of, ooh, you can get something. Let them get it from the start, so it's theirs to lose. All right, that's number one. Now, number two, you do want to create kind of like a midpoint or last third of the trip incentive so that they can stay on behavior, because it also is helpful. Carrot and stick, have something you can take away. Now, most Targets these days have a Starbucks inside of them, or a little like Starbucks counter. And what does Starbucks have for kids? Cake pops. Are you familiar with the cake pop, Ollie?
Oh my God, yes. What's so funny is we had a friend who was trying to sell those things. So yeah, very, yeah. Didn't get that far, but yes.
So you promise a cake pop, and hey, you want your cake pop? Hey, stop hitting your brother if you want your cake pop. You still want the
Mm,
cake pop? All right. So now they have the items from the dollar bin that they don't want to lose. You also have a pending cake pop. So you're kind of coming at it from a couple different angles psychologically. Then you want to make sure that they're involved. This is step number three. You figure out which items they're going to help you scan at the self checkout. Kids love that little scanner thing. Gives them some autonomy, feels like they're involved, feels like they're shopping themselves. So that's how you survive a trip to Target with kids. Dollar bin, cake pops, scanner.
yeah, the star. You know what I like about this? The Starbucks, because Starbucks is that little treat. You know what's so sad about this stuff? A lot of these things are just problems that are just so in my rear view, and I can't say that I miss them, but I do miss the parenting moves that this involved. You know what I mean? Actually, no, I'm not gonna lie. Those are tougher times. It's far. You know what I do now? I'll be like, I'm going to the store. I'll be back. It's so much easier than promising a cake pop. I'm probably saving money. But hey, we do what we have to do. You like that Target, huh? Is that your favorite? If you had to split up
Mm.
trips, IKEA, Target, Trader Joe's, what would you take? What would be your top pick?
Well, IKEA is a novelty. I mean, like, you're not like Target has everything you need in life. I mean, you can go get like snorkeling gear and
Hard
an
agree.
apple and a video game console and
Hard
a
agree.
book,
Hard
you're
agree.
not going to read, but that, you want to, you like the idea of maybe reading it someday. So I think Target probably wins, but then you need your sustenance, and Trader Joe's is where it's at for like actual groceries. So I don't,
Yeah, it's weird. Don't you think? Isn't weird? I feel like if I had to buy a week's worth of groceries at Target, that would feel more depressing than doing that at Trader Joe's. Like Trader Joe's feels more aspirational for food. I'm just saying, even though it's just food, honestly. You know,
just, that should be your next show. It's just food.
it's no big deal. That's
All
it.
right, we've talked about a lot of brand name life hacks for parents, but now I'm going to
Uh-huh.
do some generic ones because, not everything can be SponCon.
And not everyone can be what? What do you call it?
SponCon, sponsored content? SponCon? You never heard about SponCon?
No, I have not heard of that one.
All right, some of these, by the way, are in my rearview mirror, but I'm going to say them anyway because, we've got dads of all seasons, dads at varying steps of the piano lesson game listening. So here's the bath time parenting life hack. You ready?
Whoa. Okay. I'm taking me back. This is all taking me back stuff.
I know. Glow sticks. Turn off the lights, throw some glow sticks in there.
This feels a little dangerous, but continue.
I mean, like, supervise, but like, I mean, at an age where they can't drown in the bath anymore, throw some glow sticks in there and they will have a blast.
Be honest here. Like, what? This is a whole other thing. But, like, I feel like at one point, I trusted Heath with, when, yeah, when I needed to physically bathe him, I was in there. Let's just get that out of the way. But, at what point is it like, yeah, I'm good? Like, the kid's good. Like, I don't need to be in the room with them. You know what I mean? Heath would like sometimes want to talk to me, and I'd be like, "That's cool, but put that curtain up, pal." You know what I mean? Like, like just saying.
Yeah, I got you.
Like,
All right,
are
well,
you
that's my bath time parenting life hack.
do
Ready
that?
for,
Would you do that? Come on, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. You getting the glow
yeah,
sticks out like
yeah, I'm
it's a
gonna do it
ring?
tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna go buy some glow sticks right now just to prove you wrong.
Jesus, yeah, I don't know about
Hold
that
on, let me run to Target to go get glow sticks, which I'm sure they have because they have everything.
one. Yeah, you're right.
All
You're
right,
right.
you ready for the restaurant parenting life hack? And this is a simple one.
Ooh, that's this. Now we're talking something actually that matters. Go on.
Here's the restaurant parenting life hack. Bring a coloring book, crayons, markers, paper. But that's not the hack. The hack is do not deploy these tools until after you order. That's the hack. A lot of
Mm,
parents, they go, "Oh, we're here. We sat down. We got a table. Here's your coloring book." Kid gets bored
hmm.
within like 5 minutes. No, you want to talk about what they're going to get, order, kind of like get
I see.
acquainted, get
Yeah,
a lay of the land. Because also, you don't know if that server is coming over within 2 minutes or 20 minutes. They might be
I
slammed.
see.
Oh, you finally got a table. You want to save that coloring book for once they take your order. Because once you take your order, there's a finite amount of time, unless you're at like a really bad restaurant and they're really backed up. But like, that food's coming out within like 12 to 15 minutes. But you have to time the deployment of the tool. This is if you want to avoid screen time. If you don't want to be those people just kind of like,
Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And like it's dude, yeah, it's some crazy stuff. I Do you guys have the restaurants where it's like do you have the playscape? I mean, I know that takes you out of a genre of restaurants, but are there restaurants you go to in Brooklyn, sophisticated, chic, desirable Brooklyn that are like very kind of modern, kid friendly, if you will?
No. There are no restaurants we would go to that have what do you think this is, McDonald's in the 90s? No.
That's what they did, like with these kind of more nouveau, like I don't know. Wait, I'm trying to. Yeah, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, yeah, they would build these things. Heath outgrew those, like literally physically. He cut his head on one of these. Yeah, it's weird. It's like a playscape, like at McDonald's, but for like other restaurants, like it'd be kind of they had them a lot of breweries. Go figure. Somebody figured it out. It's a weird. I don't know if it's a weird thing or just like kind of makes sense. Kind of like dropping your kid off at IKEA while you go to work.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that story up.
Yeah, you're gonna find the images and you will literally be like, "God, Shira, this would be so great."
What is
They're in kindergarten now. Yeah, I could just see you like retroactively being mad about it. Like, damn it.
All right, you ready for my last hack, and then we'll kick it over because I know you have a couple top five lists to share.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, 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 that you worked so hard on. This is the toy room parenting life hack. So I don't know if this had happened to you, but we find ourselves in a spot where our kids have so many toys that they end up playing with none of them. They can't see them, they can't find them, they tire of them. Now, the life hack, the toy room parenting life hack, or the brand new toy life hack, whatever you want to call it, is essentially this. You take their toys and you put them in a closet that they don't have access to. And then every 2 months, you rotate in a new crop of toys that they can see, that they can play with, and you make it like this event where it's like, all right, your new toys are coming, and then they get, ooh, these are the toys I can play with, and so it feels like fresh and new, and then a couple months go by, and you're gonna rotate them out, and then they get new toys to play with, but they're just their old toys that you already have. So it's kind of just like a little psychological trick to make them feel excited about the toys
It
that they
feels
already
low
have.
key cruel. It's like these are the toys you can't play with. It's almost like communism. It really is. It's like these were once all your possessions, but the state has dictated that it's better for you to parcel out joy so that your joy will last more evenly. So say goodbye to your stuffed bluey. That's crazy. You have to create toy prison in order for this to work.
I didn't really think about it like that, but okay. Well, all
Yeah.
right then. All right, Ollie. You have some top five lists, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to? Now these are life hacks. These are more of the like we talked really like nuts and bolts life hacks for like out in the world. These are a little bit more emotional. So tell us about your first one, which is I think like how to get your kid to talk to you after school. You want to walk us through that one?
Yeah, that's literally been something I've been working on. Now, they always say this, don't start with the obvious, which is like, "Oh, how was your day going?" But that's going to be in there. I'll also preface it with this. My son has a phone, and as soon as I pick him up, and he has a ban on phones at school. So, I kind of respect the fact that it's like, you know what? He's been at school all day. I'll let him look at the phone. But the way I look at it is can I challenge his attention with conversation versus just trying to say, hey, turn off the phone and talk to me? Like, come on, that doesn't really work. He's a person too. So I'll usually drop in something like, and I hate being repetitive, but the easy one for me to start things off is like, oh, you know what? This is what I'll do. It's a combo, but it has to do with like, what'd you have for lunch today? But more importantly, my new version is, what do you want something to eat when you come home? Because that addresses immediacy. So, kind of like lure him out of that phone trance with, you want to eat something, So we start off with that. Then I'll bridge it into lunch. Then I'll ask about who he has been hanging out with. Because again, these are just like the things you really want to do, like kind of just to check in with him. And then homework's always in there. Homework's always in there, and I just love to get ahead of it. And to be honest, it can be a source of contention. So that's not fun, but that's definitely a question that's in there too. And, sometimes he said this to me, and I realized I was missing out on an opportunity. But sometimes the most basic, like, how are you? How's your day? You know what I mean? That's something that he's kind of organically brought up to me. But yeah, those are the basic things. Like, I start with the old hunger, basic needs, and then I'll peer into the day. But that's pretty much it for picking him up after school while he's firmly fixated on YouTube Shorts. And then also the other flip too, I'll throw in there too, is like I'll respond like with what he's watching a bit, even though my eyes should be on the road. Does that cover it? That's pretty good, right? Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, you didn't even have to look at the notes.
No notes. So weird.
No.
My dog ate that one.
That's the way you parent.
Yeah.
Right off the dome. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I write it down, and then when it's time to play the game, and you chuck that plan, and you just get right up in the muck.
That's how you do it, baby. All right. Well, thanks for coming to our Parenting Life Hacks episode. I think we should do this again. We didn't even get to everything, but I think this was hopefully useful to some parents. And if it wasn't, well, I don't know. Like, go listen to something else. But if you're still here, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, really good stuff. IKEA.